Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday Wisdom session today. Today, our session is focused on the Work Opportunity Tax Credit with our presenter, Mr. Derrick Donnell, who I'll introduce later on here. Our Wednesday Wisdom is a public webinar focused on delivering relevant information to support business connectivity and sustainability in our region. Each of these sessions will feature a subject matter expert. And I just want to go over a quick housekeeping items before we get started. This event is being live streamed on Facebook and also will be uploaded to our Chamber Face YouTube page for anyone that needs this content after the recording here today, or would like to get more information and connect with Mr. Derrick at a future time. As I mentioned, today's session will be geared towards the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, and it's a federal tax credit available to employers who invest in American job seekers who have consistently faced barriers to employment. During this discussion, employers will learn what groups are eligible to receive the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, how much of a tax credit each group is eligible to receive, and how employers or their tax agents/consultants can access the WOTC program. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Derrick A. Donnell. He's been with the PA Department of Labor and Industry since May 2005, which seems like a long time ago. He's currently supervises the Special Projects Unit consisting of foreign labor certification, work opportunity tax credits, and federal bonding. In that role, Derrick was responsible for coaching, motivating, influencing the team to provide service, as well as coordinating program service delivery to employers across the state. Derrick is a competent Toastmaster, a certified workforce development professional, and he's volunteered his time as a member of the board of directors for the Chambersburg Chamber of Commerce, Letterkenny Industrial Development Authority, and the Franklin County United Way. In a previous life, Derrick served honorably as a United States Navy. Thank you for your service, sir. And in his spare time, he's an avid but terrible golfer and a cigar aficionado. So Derrick, if you wouldn't mind again, take it from here. I know you need some time to share your screen. And again, thank you.
Ahmad, thank you so much for that great introduction. I really appreciate it. And thank you for inviting me to be here with you today to talk to the Chamber members on Wednesday Wisdom about the Work Opportunity Tax Credit and federal bonding programs. And I'm sharing my screen now. And I always preface this presentation as I talk about work opportunity tax credits and federal bonding to let everyone on the call know I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a tax lawyer, I'm not a CPA or an accountant. My goal today is to give you information about the program, the highlights of the program, how you can access the information to participate in the program. Or if you have any questions about tax liability or who should sign certain documents within your corporation, please consult your HR, your finance office, or your general counsel or counselor law firm that represents your office. Again, Derrick Donnell here, Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry. I'm going to talk today about work opportunity tax credits and federal bonding programs. I am part of the Bureau of Workforce Partnership and Operations with the Department of Labor and Industry, and it's been about almost 20 years that I've been doing workforce development programs. I really enjoy working with employers to provide them with information about services to help them not only recruit employees but retain employees. In our today's economy, being able to retain and train and keep employees is as important as recruiting them. What is the Work Opportunity Tax Credit? It is a federal tax credit that's through the Internal Revenue Service that is available to employers who work and invest in American job seekers who face barriers to employment. There are many groups that are eligible for the benefit, but the employers don't know about the process, don't know about the tax credit. And it's something that as part of an onboarding process, employers can engage in to find out if the new hire that they're bringing on board would be eligible for the tax credit. There's no limit on the number of new hires that employers can bring on board. There's substantial savings to employers, and before the day is over, I will share with you some of the savings to employers in Pennsylvania through the tax credit program for program years 2021 and program year 2022. Any size employer can benefit from this tax credit. You can be a small business, a mom and pop store that is employing 20 people, to a large company, a Walmart, a Chipotle, a national retail organization that can benefit from this tax credit. So there's no size limit to this program. I'm also going to talk about some qualified tax-exempt 501c3 organizations that are eligible to claim the tax credit, which in itself is an oxymoron because we're talking about tax credits, but it's also available to people who are tax exempt. But I'm going to explain how that happens for tax exempt companies to avail themselves of the tax credit too, if they hire certain classifications of veterans. And feel free at any point during this conversation today to put your hand up in the chat or ask questions. This is an informal presentation. I do this quite often with chambers of commerce's, economic developments, businesses to talk about the program so they become aware of it. So let's talk about the American job seekers who qualify for the tax credit. Let's look at these groups of individuals who can benefit you, the business, in saving money by bringing them on board your company. So the non-veteran groups and the amounts that you can save. Should you hire someone who is a Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program recipient, SNAP, formerly called food stamps, someone who's a TANF recipient, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, formerly called welfare, someone who's a member of a designated community resident. And designated community residence is a housing and urban development program. It's a HUD program, and there's two classifications of designated community residents. The one classification is rural renewal community. Pennsylvania, the two rural renewal communities are Venango County and Warren County. And these are programs that areas that HUD have identified as consistently impoverished areas that are in need of economic incentives, tax reliefs for them to be made a viable community. The other designated community program that HUD sponsors is the Empowerment Zone. And in Pennsylvania, the Empowerment Zone is in Philadelphia. I always put that in there and talk about it, even though in particular your area isn't eligible for it, but to let you know, if you have a business or a company in another part of the state, or you have a business in another area that could benefit from it, feel free to share this information. Another group that's eligible for tax credit is a vocational rehabilitation person. Someone who has a disability is working with the State Department of Vocational Rehabilitation to receive services. A justice system involved individual, someone who is on parole, who's been recently released from a facility, who's serving in a halfway house. Any involvement with the justice system, this person is eligible to get the employer the tax credit. If a person is receiving supplemental security income, SSI, or if there are long-term unemployment recipient, which we consider long-term unemployment 27 weeks or more. And I do work for the Department of Labor and Industry, and unemployment compensation is in my building, but they're up on another floor, and we do often communicate with each other to help each other support one another. Again, TANF. And the federal government has two definitions of TANF: long-term TANF and short-term TANF. Here in Pennsylvania, we consider TANF as TANF as TANF. There's no such thing as a short-term TANF recipient. Short-term TANF for Pennsylvania is basically a diversion program that offers a one-time cash benefit to recipients, but they're still TANF recipients. But the federal government has two definitions for TANF. The last classification I'm going to talk about today that's a non-veteran is a summer youth employment person. If you hire a summer youth between ages of 15 and 18 and also are in an empowerment zone, Philadelphia in this case, in Pennsylvania, you're an employer who is eligible for tax credit. The next column over, the minimum 120 hours, the employee has to stay with you for a minimum of 120 hours to receive a tax credit of $1,500. That way, the encourages some retention again, but also encourages the employer to work with people that they know are going to be employees and stay with them and give them, be dedicated and committed to them. The maximum number of hours to receive the full benefit is $2,400 for a maximum of 400 hours. So at that point, the IRS considers that person an employee. They've reached the maximum number of hours. And for those first 5 categories, for first 6 categories, the maximum benefit is $2,400. Now, someone who's on TANF, they're eligible for a tax credit of $9,000 total. It can be extended over a period of 2 years. And summer youth employment is eligible for a tax credit of $1,200. At this point, I'm going to take a minute to ask, are there any questions regarding the non-veteran groups eligible to receive the WOTC benefit? Nothing in the chat, Ahmad?
Not as yet. You're doing a great job.
Okay, thank you, sir. Continuing on. Now, before I talked about tax-exempt businesses being eligible for a tax credit, only if they hire veterans. And they have to hire a veteran who is a veteran or a SNAP recipient, or they have a SNAP recipient living in their household. So I'm a veteran. If you hire me, you're eligible for a tax credit. But if you also hire me and there's someone in my household who's a SNAP recipient, you're eligible for the tax credit as well. So the tax credit for that, and the next group of veterans is unemployed veterans who are unemployed from 4 weeks to 6 months. That tax credit is for $1,500 or a maximum of $2,400. To hire an unemployed veteran greater than 6 months, the minimum tax credit is $3,500, with the maximum being $5,600. Should you hire a disabled veteran within 1 year of discharge or retirement, the minimum number of hours gets you a tax credit of $3,000. The maximum hours gets you $4,800 tax credits. Should you hire a disabled veteran who's been unemployed greater than 6 months, you're looking at a $6,000 tax credit at a minimum, or a maximum of $9,600 for a tax credit. So tax-exempt companies, 501(c)(3)s, for instance, with Chambers, you're 501(c)(6), right? You're still 501, nonprofit, and say Goodwill, for instance. If they hire a veteran in their tax-exempt company, they're eligible for tax credit. To hire a veteran, they will receive the tax benefit. So there's a lot of benefits in terms of the tax credit to help save the company money. The caveat to this program I want to impress upon everybody on the call today or listen to me on Facebook live stream is, with the work opportunity tax credit, the application has to be submitted within 28 days on or before the first day of hire. The IRS will not provide a waiver or provide an extension. So that tax application has to be submitted to our office, Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry, within 28 days on or before the first day of hire. Let's talk about the tax credit savings and how much money Pennsylvania employers saved during program year 21 and program year 22. Also have data for program year 23, which I'll get to in a minute. That's fresh in my mind because we just did that recently. We did that data recently, so I've got that memorized. But for program year 21, our office certified 81,000 WOTC applications. Those 81,000 WOTC applications saved employers for the tax credit $100 million if they all got the maximum benefit based on those tax applications. In program year 22, we went up about 9%, 11%, I'm sorry, and we certified 91,670 tax applications, which provided tax credits to Pennsylvania employers of $251,635,000. This last program year 23, we certified over 134,000 WOTC tax applications, and I forgot the dollar amount. I should have been bragging so soon about having that memorized, but of course, 134,000 certified applications. we saved well over $300 million for tax credits for employers in Pennsylvania. So there's some benefits to applying for the program. Now let's talk about who's not eligible for the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. If you're a business, you hire a relative or a dependent of the employer, you cannot get a tax credit for hiring a family member or dependent. Also, you can't hire former employees regardless of how long it has been since they last worked for the company. So if you hire me today and I work for you for 5 months, you get the tax credit. I'll leave the company, come back, you will not be able to apply for a tax credit again. You hire me today, you don't apply for tax credit. I stay for you for 6 months. I leave the company, come back, apply for a tax credit, and the IRS will look at it. It's not a blanket yes or no, but they will review it. So all the tax credit forms and information, it's an IRS program, and all the information is available 3 places actually on our websites. You can find the information on the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industries Work Opportunity Tax Credit website. I have the website listed on the screen, www.dli.pa.gov. Click on Workforce Development and Work Opportunity Tax Credit, or a lot of your employers already have a website, have a link to the PA Career Link website because you post jobs there for recruitment. If you go on the PA Career Link website, scroll down to the very bottom of the page, click on the employer link, scroll down to the bottom of the page, you will see the section for the Work Opportunity Tax Credits. That's easy way to get to the program and also an easy way to get to me if you have questions about the process, because my information is on our website as well. It is a tax credit. The link and all the forms are on the IRS's website as well as on our website, but also the United States Department of Labor's website as well. Even though it's an IRS program and it is a tax credit, it is managed by the Department of Labor because we're processing the applications for the Internal Revenue Service through the state workforce agencies, through the United States Department of Labor. And again, all the forms are listed on these 2 websites. And my information is on the Labor and Industry webpage as well. And I will provide it in the seminar today. I'm going to transition now from Work Opportunity Tax Credits into the Federal Bonding Program. And on the screen is a link to our Federal Bonding Program Coordinator, Tawana George. She does a great job processing the forms for the Federal Bonding Program, which has been around since 1966. This is an incentive to hire at-risk job seekers who've had a hard time finding employment. With the Federal Bonding Program, should you hire someone that you may consider to be at risk, maybe an ex-offender, someone who has a bankruptcy, has a poor credit history, is recovering substance abuse, or is dishonorably discharged from the military, you consider them at risk, you can apply for a federal bond to bond your company while that person works for you. If you have someone who's working for you right now and they move into an increased role where they're maybe working with money, maybe they're in an increased position of access to tools and equipment, you also can apply for a bond to cover yourself over that period of time as well. The best part about the Federal Bonding Program, there's no cost to the job seeker or to the employer. There's no administrative process to complete. It's essentially a phone call or email to the person who's our Federal Bonding Coordinator with the Commonwealth, Tawana George. There's no waiting. The fidelity bond is issued immediately. There's no deductible. The bond is good for 6 months at $5,000 of coverage for theft of money or property. And I put on here after 6 months because I forgot to talk about what happens after 6 months. And an employer asked me one day, so Derrick, after 6 months, we have to let the person go? No, after 6 months, should you decide to keep the bond, you have to pay a premium. And the premium costs are negotiated between you for how much coverage you want, you, the employer, for how much coverage you want with the Fidelity Bond Company that the Department of Labor contracts with to provide the services from this program. So you don't have to let the person go. Are there restrictions to the program? Of course. They have to be, the person you're hiring must be of legal work age in Pennsylvania. You, the employer, must be paying federal taxes through payroll deductions. The person must be in a job that lasts for more than 6 months. So temporary agencies, the staffing firms of the world who are bringing in short-term employment, short-term employees are eligible to apply for federal bonds. Anyone who's self-employed or a 1099 employee is not eligible to get a bond for themselves. The bonding process is relatively simple. The employer will contact our state bonding coordinator on the first day of work, on the first day of the promotion that put this person in a position of increased responsibility. Our bonding coordinator will complete an online request form. This process usually takes 3 to 5 minutes. I happened to be standing near her cubicle one day and she was on the phone with the employer processing a bond. And the time it's taking me to tell you the story, pretty much the bond was already processed and issued. The employer will receive a federal bond package from the Fidelity Insurance Company within 10 days. It's a big insurance package. It's an insurance policy, essentially. That comes to you directly from the bond issuer within 10 days after we've completed the process. So I have our WOTC coordinator's tax information up here as well, our contact information. She's my work opportunity tax credit guru. She's been doing this job for a while. She's an expert at the work opportunity tax credit program. And you also have the information for our federal bonding coordinator. But at this point, what I'd like to say, are there any questions about any of the programs I talked to you about today? Anything in the chat?
Question, if you don't mind. Nothing in the chat.
Great.
Do you happen to have data on how many employers in our area currently utilize this?
Say it again, Ahmad.
Would you happen to know about how many employers in our area, Northeast PA, that utilizes?
Yeah, that's a good question. And unfortunately, I don't have the number of employers in Pennsylvania who do use the program, who have used the program. I'll get that information. I'll find it on our website and send it to you, Ahmad, to share with the person who asked that question. But it's well over 100,000.
Okay.
Any other questions, sir?
And one more thing from my end. If an employer reaches out to us and is looking to take advantage of this program, what are some of the first steps and what should they have in order that you would need to help expedite that process?
Got it. The first step would be to ensure that the person is at least one of the categories, one of the groups that they be in one of the groups. So I always tell folks, if I were an employer and I was hiring people, as part of my onboarding process, I would download IRS tax form 8850. This is the tax form on the IRS website for the Work Opportunity Tax Credit Program. Because you're a new employee, and when you're onboarding, you're filling out a bunch of forms, you're doing your W-4, you're doing your I-9. If I was an employer, I would add that as another form to have the employees fill out. Because you, the employer, don't ask the question, hey, do you receive TANF? Are you a disabled veteran? Or are you, involved with the justice system? But by having that form for the employee to fill out as part of the onboarding process, that tells you right there, hey, I'm eligible for a tax credit. My next step is to take this form now and submit it to Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry. And I forgot to include the screen with my contact information on it, but I'm gonna put it in the chat if that's okay with you. But the employer could contact us and ask us what's the next step with the process. But basically, they can do it through our website, through PA Career Link website. When they take the IRS 8850 tax form, they can upload it onto our website for us to process it. If we need any information from them, we'll reach out to them directly and contact them if we need anything. Let's say, for instance, someone's receiving unemployment. We have an interface with the unemployment office that we know automatically that person is eligible and was receiving unemployment. For some things, we need some supporting documentation. Like for a veteran, we need a copy of the DD 214. If someone's receiving TANF, again, we interface with the Department of Human Services website. We know that person's TANF eligible. We know that they're eligible for the tax credit. So the first step is to get that IRS tax form 8850, work opportunity tax credit. Have the person complete that when you hire them as part of your onboarding process, and get that submitted to us within 28 days of hire.
Thank you. Thank you. That
Thank
was a
you.
very thorough answer. And then the other thing, is there a top, say, 3 industry that you see take advantage of this opportunity more than others?
Yeah, and let me get that information to you because I do a quarterly report to the federal government every quarter, and we break it down by industry that we send tax applications for. So let me get that information for you. I'm writing down 2 things to get back to you with: the number of employers who use the program, but also the top 3 industries. The top 3 industries in Pennsylvania who access the tax credit program, right?
Yep. So this will just help us too if when we get the information out to members, if we
I
segment
get
it,
it. Sure.
it could be something they probably don't have on the
Yep.
radar or think about on a day-to-day
Yep.
basis that we could then,
I totally understand that. Yeah. I know the big category for the tax credit that we see a significant jump in is people who are like SNAP benefit recipients. Like say, for instance, like there's 3,000 people who were on the system who were like justice system involved, but then there'll be 12,000 people for the year who were like SNAP benefit eligible. So that's the big one for the categories, but I can get you the industries for sure. Like I said, it's in my quarterly report. I just did my quarterly report last week too.
Good deal. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'm not seeing anything else in terms of questions.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to come out and talk to people to get the information about the tax credit program to the public because it's it's a great program, great opportunity, and it saves a lot of money. Sorry about that.
You're golden and 100% on all fronts.
Thank you. It's mutual. It's mutual, Mom.
Yes. I just want to remind everyone watching on the live stream or here today on Zoom. Thank you again for spending a portion of your lunch hour with us, and stay up to date on our Facebook pages and through our e-blast. We will have additional Wednesday wisdoms coming. We did record the session. We will place it on our YouTube page, and then we'll have some of those answers in the description for you once we get it from Derrick. And if you have a topic that you'd like to see us cover, please email it to us at events@wyomingvalleychamber.org. And if you haven't done so already, visit our website, check out all the upcoming events happening in our community and within our chamber community as well. Have a wonderful rest of the week and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday as well.
Put